Well, I
All
can see that now in
right.
the top corner.
It is
Okay.
recording. Woo woo.
All right, let's
So
get it.
here is our weekly predictions for fantasy. Yeah, we got Stephen here to make his bold predictions once again.
What up? Historically great track record here, too.
Historically great. Setting all kinds of records like the NFC East. So,
NFC least. Yeah.
yeah. All right, so first on dock, we have Aaron Hernandez pistol offense on the bye. Just kidding. Just had a.
I think bye week's gonna win. Oh wait, he's in the toilet bowl round or whatever. Yeah, it's all good. Never mind.
Never mind. All right, so our first matchup, Steven, is actually you with the Wentz to Galladay in versus Hayden's OBJ likes getting shat on.
Brilliant. Okay. Yeah, just I was just looking at the standings before. I found it funny that he's literally pipped me by 1 point now, so I'm actually the 5th place seed instead of the 4th place seed.
Yeah, you
Tiger, I'm feeling the love. So now
that
we're the
Andre
underdog story.
Swift and Alvin Kamara, the last 2 weeks have hurt you with them.
Why? Why is this a thing now? It's just I remember reading the report for Drew Brees' injury, and I did not think it was going to impact me this much. And my whole running back core is just a whole pile of WTF at the moment. It's just from guys they're like all like top 12 guys at a minimum, and now it's like I can't even explain what's going on, Nolan. I can't.
I mean, Alvin Kamara has actually dropped out of the top 10 in fantasy rankings. He used to dominate in the top 5. He is now at 13, and he is trending down. So it's not.
Oh boy.
We'll see how this week goes. That is going to be key. But you also have Jonnu Smith, who's kind of disappeared as well.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about that one. He didn't even get a target in the last game, I believe. And I think he only got 2 or so. He's been under 5 targets the past couple weeks here. And seeing the other tight ends usage on the team, too, is a little bit concerning. That might be something that needs to be addressed here pretty shortly.
Yeah. But, hey, lucky for you, Hayden's team picked a terrible week to go on bye. So what we got there? What you see? What are you worried about?
I mean, yeah, he's got a lot of players on bye. I think it's he's still got his triplets of Allen Robertson, Dalvin Cook, and Tyreek Hill that could beat anybody on any given week.
I mean, Tyreek Hill single-handedly beat me last week. So
no, I mean he's beat Tyreek's 50-point performance alone. I think beat some of the lowest scorers of the entire team for the week. Shout out to that 146-point performance. I think Colton put like another 47 or something in there last week. So yeah, he could have beat those all like on 1 point. He could have beaten plenty of teams literally single-handedly this year. So take it with a grain of salt. But yeah, I mean, his team could win it on any given week. It's just kind of what it is. But that running back depth of Rojo on bye, he doesn't even have another running back on his roster. So clearly there's a free agent move coming.
He is free agent
he wants to give me the win.
I would say his top chances would be something. He could always go for Benny Snell, but that Pittsburgh running game is very iffy at best. So
shoot, I don't get paid for telling him who to go get.
Hey, I'm just I get paid for. You just make your predictions. So speaking of which, what is your prediction for this matchup?
Well, given that he's got all the bye weeks right now and he doesn't have anybody on his roster, it seems pretty dependent on what he goes and get. If he goes and get anyone, he's still trying to do the put everyone in the bench mind games,
Yeah, when he did with me with the whole I'm not starting anybody.
Absolute scenes. But, I want to say, this is where I'm going to jinx myself because I think it's going to be a close one, but I think I'm going to edge it. I mean, I have a lot of players that can win me the game or lose. But my team's really volatile right now, so there's a lot of players that can win me the game single-handedly, and there's also some that can cost me. I mean, Alvin Kamara was literally the safest player come 3 weeks ago, and now I'm like, he could win me my week single-handedly, but he could also lose it. Like, I can't treat him as the elite RB1 he was before. I kind of you can't bench him at this point. You can't just lock him in on the bench, even with the options I have. You can't do that because he's got the upside, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm kind of just ride or die at this point.
I would agree with that. I think it's going to come down, though, to if Tyreek Hill and Dalvin Cook have a day like they have shown in the past, that will be where they're going to have a chance for the upset. But if they just do an average performance and maybe stay under 100 yards and maybe one touchdown, I think you got it. So,
yeah, I a lot of this. There's not a lot of points to be had in the free agency. It's pretty bare, especially in a 12 team with 4 IR spots. So every team is pretty loaded up about now. There's not a lot of options on our free agency bench or in our free agency here. So
there really isn't. So, all right, there's that match next. In our playoffs, we have the Rolling with My Homies with Ben and Aaron's High Fashion Like Goddard. So that's an interesting matchup. Definitely going to be the closest matchup of our playoffs, I believe.
I mean, it depends. I kind of feel like both these teams are coming to playoffs running in on fumes. You know, speaking of fumes, I don't know what Will Fuller's on, but that's a really untimely suspension for rolling with my homies. He's now down to a wide receiver core of the recently acquired CeeDee Lamb, Jacoby Myers, and Nelson Aguilar.
Well, here's the key thing. David Johnson is slated to return this week. So that can be a flex that will help him as well.
Todd Gurley's questionable as well, so he's probably only got to rely on 2 of those guys. And heck, yeah, I mean, he's got Goddard and Henry as well, so I don't think he's going to need to play 3 wide receivers moving forward. It's just he's got a lot of guys that are going to hit that who are, startable, pretty safe floor, but how high the ceilings are there, and can he throw a blind dart and get the one that's going to explode correct? 'Cause that's been, I'd say, the biggest issue of his team. He's got a lot of guys that have been kind of up and down, and he'll bench the one that gets like 30 points, and he'll play the one that gets like 7 or something. So it's just, can he get it right to beat Aaron? And I think he will need to if he's going to get the win.
Especially with Aaron's team. That's a loaded team right there.
I mean, he's got literally like the only good tight end left at this point. The only tight end that has delivered as promised. And he's recently acquired Deshaun Watson in a trade, so he kind of addressed one of the bigger weaknesses of his team. Zeke against the Ravens, take that with a grain of salt, if you will. I mean, Melvin Gordon should do better this week since he'll actually, hopefully have a quarterback that can move the ball. So
rumors are they're signing the son of the offensive coordinator to play quarterback.
Well, that's gonna be awkward. They try to bench him later.
That is a fair point.
It's gonna be an awkward conversation at the dinner table.
I would definitely. I look at this match as Ben's team has a puncher's chance, as in, if he puts, like you said, that right combination in and just gets that one hook right in, he could upset. But I think anyone else looking at this could see that Aaron's team is clearly the favorites.
I think it would have been a lot tougher of a call if Will Fuller was playing because he's actually been pretty consistent and actually has played in every game this year, making him, what
Yeah,
is he now? That he's
those
number 5 on the
help.
season. I mean, pretty inflated by that last game, but
So
so yeah, I think it's Aaron's game to lose as long as he can get enough of a floor from guys like Zeke, Melvin, Adams and Kelsey will always lift that game up, and hopefully Deshaun Watson doesn't suffer too much from losing Will Fuller. Otherwise, I think Aaron's in
Tyler
safe
Lockett
hands here.
doesn't lose all his targets and yards from DK. So.
And he took it personally.
Yes, he did. All
Had to
right.
slip that in there.
So we got Aaron projected on that. Okay, next match. We are in the consolation bracket. So all our fun friends there got.
Half of them aren't even paying attention, probably. It's gone.
Oh, they're going to pay attention. We'll make them pay attention.
We're going to make them.
Yeah, exactly. So you got Jake's Green Eggs and Hamler versus Andre's Double on Andre's.
Oh, I'm looking at Jake's team now to start this off, and it looks like he has finally broken the Taysom Hill at tight end mod that we allowed him to do last week to my detriment. But I looked at the points, even if he put Eckler in there, I was still taking that hard L. So congrats on that, Jake. Hopefully you can go and get the toilet bowl money. At least salvage your season and reset for next year. But let's see, some pretty tough matchups. I think Sterling Shepard against Seattle could be a little X factor. Colt McCoy can actually throw the ball.
Hey, don't knock our UT Colt McCoy. He's the underdog. But yeah, I agree. Austin Eckler probably was the right move. I personally, when looking at it earlier, was like, would it be worth the risk of just not changing your lineup and riding it all the way with Taysom Hill? But I think Eckler's floor is just higher than Taysom's ceiling.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at last week, he got a ridiculous amount of volume there. He was getting a lot of work on the ground. He was also getting all of the passes. I assume that Herbert's going to be able / hope, biasly, because he's my quarterback, but I assume that he's going to be able to work the ball down the field a little bit more this game. So maybe not as much work for Eckler this week, but he's still going to have a very big game. And getting him in there is the right move, but you're almost like, how many points do I lose at tight end by getting to play 2 quarterbacks and by sacrificing playing 2 quarterbacks to get Eckler in there? Does it net out? Guess we'll find out.
But definitely. But hey, you gotta watch out with Andre's team because got Kyler Murray there, who's been solid pretty much most of the season because he's got a freaking monster to throw the ball to. And then Kareem Hunt, he's still getting his rushing yards, but I think the big point is probably going to be James Robinson against a Minnesota defense that has been about middle of the road against the run this season.
Yeah, and I think for my money's worth, that was the free agent pickup of the year, getting him that before week 1, knowing that he was going to be the potential running back 1 and just taking that stash on him. And that, boy, has that panned out. He's now running back 4 on the year. Holy cow. So, yeah, getting that has kept him afloat despite losing McCaffrey, Kittle, some of his higher round picks there, and might make him think about what his keepers are going to be. We'll see down the road.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting pick there. So this will definitely be another close matchup in the toilet bowl, but personally, I think Jake will hold the edge just because I love the Eckler move. I just think that is going to be the key.
I'm thinking about this one. I mean, Jake's team always has been kind of underperforming this year, and even against me, he probably should have slammed me shut with 71. With my 71, he should have slammed me to the grave and got somewhere in the 90s, but wasn't really meant to be for him. Eckler coming back is a big part of that. Also, keep the Dolphins defense. I think that will keep him afloat. I think it's going to be closer than ESPN's projecting it to be, but I do think Jake's going to squeak that one out. I mean, Kyler Murray's healthy too now, so that's kind of a big part of it. That rushing upside might return for him.
That's true, but the better Kyler does, the better Jake does too, because of DeAndre Hopkins. So that's the trick.
Unless Christian Kirk becomes a thing again. No.
Hey, don't sleep on that Isabella dude.
The who? No.
Exactly.
Yeah. Andy Isabella's watching. He's pissed. No.
Yeah. All right. Now, this one I know we've all been waiting for because it's time to trash on again. Dylan's Nowhere Bye Week versus Clint's High Tide Heroes. So we got the 4-8 teams.
Yeah, huh? Well, I think if Dylan looked at this and saw 4-8 at the beginning of the season, I think he would have been pretty happy, to be fair. So, this team on paper does not look 4-8 bad, but it's just because they're all so up and down, and getting the correct call in the lineups with this team is, let's just say, impossible.
I would say this team is pretty much the embodiment of Kenyon Drake, where he might give you a 15-point performance or he might give you a 2-point performance.
Literally so many guys like that. Josh Jacobs this year has been kind of similar. I mean, he's kind of balanced out still your running back 6, but you're getting 30 points or you're getting 10. So, and that's what you're looking at with those RB1s. It's like you get that safe floor, but how high is that ceiling? Kenyon Drake's still number 14 on the year, but it's probably been the most frustrating guy to own. DJ Moore as well rounds out to number 16 on the season, and as the embodiment of up and down performances, really big play reliant. So getting an accurate read on what this team, how many points they're going to get is pretty dang tough, especially with the Panthers being on bye. You assume Kirk Cousins is going in the lineup, and that's a pretty smash matchup there. That's one you like. Maybe he's going to go free agency, maybe not. Maybe he's going to throw Beasley or Patrick in there. I don't know.
Now, if he wants a quarterback, he could play it real risky and go and get Colt McCoy. Just saying.
Go get Mitch Magic, man.
Hey, Fitz Magic. He's cooking. All right.
Not Fitz Magic. Mitch Magic.
Oh, Mitch Trubisky.
Mitchell Trubisky.
Oh, no. I personally would think that'd be a
terrible. Who's feeling risky enough?
But, that is a risky move. But going to Clint's team, man, there's some interesting situations going on there. Got his defense out and no defense, so he's going to have to stream that. And Lamar Jackson is still talked about as questionable for the Tuesday night game.
Yeah, I mean, and he got hit pretty hard with the COVID, with the Rona last week. He got Jonathan Taylor was out, Lamar Jackson was out, and then at least he's finally got Chris Carson back though. So that's something. But losing his first 2 picks there kind of blows,
Right.
But,
Baker. The problem with Baker is if he throws only 15 times, you would think he'd be terrible, but he's actually better than when he throws 20 or more, because then he throws interceptions. So if they can run and he could get a couple of touchdowns, that would be a solid team right there. But
it's limiting the WTF Baker moments.
Yeah.
where you're just like, did he really just do that? If you only got the 15, 20 throws, you're less likely to have that one what the moment.
Yeah.
And he's actually been a pretty safe floor, but the ceiling's just so limited because they're pounding it in every time. He's not getting a lot of touchdown passes, and if he was, I think he'd be a little bit higher. And he might, hopefully, he doesn't have to go with. He'll get to use Jackson, who will rip apart the Dallas team, but Baker against Tennessee, I don't think is a bad play.
But the only downside I see on his team too is probably Tyler Boyd, who him and T. Higgins, who's on my team, have struggled since Joe Burrow went out, and
Yeah, I mean,
that's been
you,
painful.
you can't replicate what you got before. I think with that, Brandon Allen didn't look terrible in the game, but definitely not Joe Burrow. I mean, they'd be asking too much there. And I think it's really going to come down to one of them is going to produce on each week, and which one is it going to be? Can you risk keeping him in there based on your options that you have on your bench? Looking at Clint's, I think his best option is kind of keeping him in there and seeing what he can get.
It's definitely, I agree, it's going to come down to whose players can make do just enough. But again, that's why they're here in the consolation bracket. So
I'm keeping up with my theme of Justin Herbert will actually get the ball a little bit more down the field to his wide receivers. I'm going to predict a big play to Keenan Allen. I think that's what's going to be the difference in this one. I think Clint's going to take it.
You're taking Clint. All right. You hear that first. The commissioner will lose yet again. All right. Our last matchup.
You got what are you saying?
Oh,
we got to track who's got a better track record. Now that I'm actually going up against
I'm thinking it's going to be a pretty solid Clint still. I'm going to say my bold predict here is going to be it'll be 20-point differential.
Phew.
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
Sorry, Dylan. That's just how I.
Well, I guess it ultimately comes down to do they both actually fix their rosters, because they might not care at this point.
Oh, no, they care. Deep down, they want to be the champion of the losers. So
that's the way to be.
Exactly. Their picks are already set now. Speaking of picks, though, Colton and Team Tank is set to murder everybody next year with all the first-round picks that they could desire. But they first have to win the entire losing consolation bracket, and I think they start here against Bob's I Hate Aaron Rodgers, which is uncalled for.
And that's going to be brutal if he wins this toilet bowl, gets out his $20, and is the most set up person for next year. Dang, that's going to be brutal.
I mean,
but
the guy
look at that team.
The guy made a couple moves recently, like the Adam Thielen trade. It's pretty smart.
And he took your old quarterback that you, for some reason, dropped for Alex Smith.
Hey.
You confuse me, my man.
I go bold. I have Aaron Rodgers.
That's very bold.
And I think Alex Smith has a week in the schedule, so if I absolutely need it, I could take Alex Smith versus a Philadelphia Eagles or Giants.
Also giving up Thielen for essentially a 6th-round pick is bold myself. But enough grilling you. Back to Team Tank.
We're not here to question
You're a meal for a different day. Let's focus on this one. But let's see here. Anything we like? Thielen returning off the COVID list against Jacksonville. I think that's a pretty good matchup, assuming that that game doesn't get out of hand too early and they just pound it with Dalvin Cook or Alexander Madison because he's on my roster. No. But something like that could happen. But he's pretty much he's the premier red zone threat at this point. That's kind of what Thielen does. He's gonna probably get a touchdown in this game unless it's something like the Saints Broncos or it just gets out of hand too quick and they can just afford to run it all game long. I don't think it's gonna be that bad, but that could limit the upside a little bit. Let's see. Ayuk being back's gonna be pretty big. Not the easiest matchup, and Deebo Samuel's finally looking like Deebo, so I think that's gonna limit that upside as well. Oh no. Yeah, but that's what you get when you're playing the toilet bowl. So
exactly, but there could be some extra motivation between these two because last time they met, they were both without a single win, and this is where I'm pretty sure Team Tank got their first win. way back.
Well, they did. John's only got 2 wins. One was last week against Aaron, and probably the upset of the season. And then you got his win against Dylan, where he put up that 44 points or whatever, and basically gave him the win. So definitely, if they played before, which they did, Colton got the dub.
Colton, and again, like we're saying, this team, they have, like, if you look on the IR, it was a solid team before 2020 happened.
Which one, Team Tank or for
Team
John's
Tank,
team?
my dude, they had Dak Prescott and Saquon Barkley, both good.
They did trade for Saquon, but they had MT. Jake had. I mean, Tank had some good players, but he shipped them out. Got some really good deals for him. I mean, he was really getting top dollar for all of his players. Didn't leave anything on the table there. But
now,
it's gonna be very interesting to see what he does next season with all that.
Yeah. Now with the I Hate Aaron Rodgers team, I think they can still swing the victory if they're able to find some good options for QB and flex, which it looks like Matt Stafford would be his probably best switch there.
Mitch Magic.
It's Mitch Magic.
Mitch Magic, I'm telling you. It's Mitch Magic season.
You're hearing it here first, everyone. Mitch Magic. He's starting it off.
Mitch Magic's got the Detroit line. Oh, yeah, and he feasted on that team in week 1. It's Mitch Magic season. Free advice, I guess, for whoever's bold enough to go get him. I got Herbert, so, I'm chilling. I mean, I did have wins for a long time, to be fair, but it's Mitch Magic season. Go scoop him.
Speaking of Detroit, though, you would think that Kerryon Johnson is a bold start there versus Chicago.
He got some production out of him last week. I mean, that's almost around the floor that you would expect for a bye-week fill-in, injury fill-in running back. DeAndre Swift, no one knows what's going on with DeAndre Swift at this point. That right as he finally got some good, he finally gets the starting lineup. He finally gets the reins. He gets some good, enticing matchups, and then is injured for both. I mean, the dude can't catch a break. And now he's coming off the concussion protocol. AP is saying he doesn't look like himself. He's got sickness. Is it COVID? Who knows? It's a DeAndre Swift is like the embodiment of what 2020 is, and it's just kind of there. I don't think that he's good. If Swift's a go, I'm sure he's gonna carry on out of his lineup. I think his only other options McKinnon, and John doesn't even know that there's a free agent waiver wire there. So I don't really trust him going to go and make any moves either. That's been my joke all year. I'm holding on to it.
Hey, that's just how it is. So final prediction, I think it's got to be Team Tank here. Like, I just think that team has the guys that have the highest floor. And I'm a guy that if you have a high floor, I want you on my team.
For me, this one depends. If John actually went out and got some free agents, I think he's gonna go and win this game. I think he's got a roster that come the redrafts in our keeper league, since we can only keep 3, I think his roster is gonna reset very nicely. He's got 3 very distinguished guys that he can keep, and those higher upside guys is something that Colton doesn't have, because all the high upside guys he has are injured. So if he went out and at least got some steady fill-ins, I think he's going to win the game. But since he's probably not, I'm going to have to roll with you and say Team Tank's going to win.
All right. Well, that is the predictions for this week. And as always, a shout out to our unofficial sponsor, Red Bull, because they're amazing.
And your poor heart's got to drink one every time now.
Hey,
at least it's only once a week, so you'll hang
once a week, just special moment. So, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Okay.